skill, and talent can be developed through hard work, good strategies, persistence, dedication, and input from others. Where focus goes, energy flows. So focus your energy on continuous learning and stop wasting time thinking about looking smart. Build resistance, build vulnerability, build courageousness, and face adversity with a smile. Become comfortable with uncomfortable. You know, the only person that you need to prove anything to is you. Imperfect action trumps perfect inaction. Stop wasting time and get on with it. Failure is part of learning, so start learning by taking action. Hi, Christian Lavolsi, and welcome. Okay, I'm incredibly grateful to be here with you today. Simone will not be joining us. She is currently on the way to Canberra at Parliament House for another activity. She's involved in first responders, and she's been invited to Parliament House. I'm not sure who she's meeting with, but she was pretty excited. She went and had her hair done. So that is excitement plus. So look, you've got me for today, and fittingly enough, it's actually a topic that I'm incredibly excited about, and it's the topic of failure. Now, you know, I believe that we ran a survey last week, as we do every time, and what's come about from that survey is that we asked 3 questions, and they were all around failure. Are you afraid of it? So I'm going to dive straight into the first question. I am going to set a timer for myself, and hopefully this camera stops doing this crazy in and out of focus situation, because it's definitely not my internet connection. So I apologize for that. There we go. Stay there. So the first question was, why do you believe people are so afraid of failing? Well, it comes down to 2 basic human needs, and that is the fear of not being enough and the fear of not being loved. Now, what actually that means is that most people live in this cycle where they're constantly looking for other people's validation. And you're certainly not going to get validated if you take risks and fail and look stupid. So people put so much emphasis on other people in terms of what they think about you. If I had spent time thinking about why, if I thought about what other people think about me and actually cared, then I probably wouldn't have amounted to a single thing, because I was ridiculed from a very young age. In fact, I experienced racism when I first came to Australia. I know I'm a white privileged guy, so that might be hard to believe, but English was my 4th language, and I came back to Australia having born here but left very young. I was about 1 year old. I didn't come back until I was 9 or 10. I don't recall the exact dates, but it was 1989 or thereabouts. And I could barely speak English, and I also immediately when I got here, because of that ridicule, started putting on weight. I kind of attribute my weight gain to that time, and I could have easily allowed that all that pain and all that suffering to get to me, whereas I just took it on and inevitably, did quite well at sport, and obviously have done quite well in my career. But all of that has come about from failing, making mistakes, learning from them. Some mistakes catastrophic, but you cannot be deterred. But that is why I personally believe, why people are afraid of failing. So that was about just over 2 minutes. So Simone will be saying to me, "Hey, Christian, that's too long." The second question, this is kind of weird doing this on my own. The second question is, how can we overcome the fear of failing? Well, I think this is different for many people, but for me, it was really about overcoming the fear of not being enough and the fear of not being loved. Having grown up in quite a dysfunctional, abusive household, I suffered both of those things, and a lot of people didn't realize that was what was really affecting me in real life. But my ability to overcome it stemmed right down from my mindset because I wasn't going to be defeated. See, we are not controlled by the circumstances that we face, despite common thinking. It's actually a fixed mindset. We're actually held back or we advanced because of the decisions that we make. And I think what's really important to understand when looking at that, sorry, I've got alerts popping up on my screen. When you're thinking about that, you've got to think about your own mindset, your own self, and stop focusing on what other people expect from you and what your expectations of yourself is that others are going to focus on. Because let me tell you something, everybody else is going to focus on your failures. Okay. So don't you focus on your failures. Focus on how you can fix them. See, we are not failure. I think Winston Churchill was attributed for saying this, but maybe it's not true. But anyway, I'm going to take it. Failure is not fatal, nor is it final. Okay. That means you have the chance to do it better and do it again and again and again. And I think that is the promise that we have. We have a free will to choose, ladies and gentlemen. And, it's those choices that we make that define our future, not the situation that we're currently in or the mistake that we've made. And, I'm living proof of that. And we don't have enough time in today's episode to go through that. I do believe that in the podcast that I do, the Business Growth Mindset podcast, we did a long time ago, a full podcast on failure. And I think that, that's a resource that I would highly recommend people go back to. Thank you, Adrian Lee, for all your comments and love hearts at the moment. If there's anyone out there, please comment live or hashtag live. That'd be really cool. And if you are listening to this on replay, maybe hashtag replay. I always hear people say those things, and I've kind of never told anyone to do it, but it'd be great to actually get an understanding of when people are watching it, if it's live or if it's replayed. So if we focus on, so that's how I believe you overcome fear of failing. That is by developing a growth mindset and seeing failures as opportunities and challenges as opportunities. Okay. Question number 3. And I want to do this, but everyone, I've been sent a few text messages. They love that. So big round of applause. I know I was annoying Simone with the sound effects, but I just had to do it. I know I'm a bit of a dick when I do those things, but it humors me and it humors my son. Look, the last question on the survey was, is success dependent on first failing? Look, that is a really tough question. And the reason why it's a tough question is I think it's different. Right? I think it's different to everybody. And one of the things that I want to say to you all, I don't believe that you must have failed first to be successful. And there's lots of really good examples of people that haven't failed. And for example, I had not really failed in business for some 7 or 8 years, but I actually was failing. I was failing continuously, just wasn't aware of it. And everyone thought I was incredibly successful. However, I failed catastrophically and lost everything and had to start all over again. And that was a spectacular failure event. But at the same time, in saying that, I was acutely aware. I have seen other people succeed. Some people have, luck events. But ultimately, that's really rare. But let me explain to you what I think. People define why companies or individuals thrive. And that is because people can be, as Jim Collins says, disciplined fanatics, or people are empirical, or they're creative, or they even have productive paranoia, he goes on to say. But people lead, people build teams, people build organizations, and people build cultures. People exemplify values and purpose and also achieve the objectives. So, the reality of it is success dependent on first failing? No, but it does help sometimes, because I believe that if you embrace failure, small fails, right? Small failure moments or experiences that will actually help you, because you're going to grow and develop along the way. But, I think the most important thing is, and this is where I want to summarize today's show, is that our circumstances, right? Let me start again. We're not imprisoned, right, by our circumstances. All right. And we're certainly not imprisoned by the inherent unfairness of life. And I think everyone needs to understand that. We're also not imprisoned by the mistakes, right? Or even the successes that we have. We're not imprisoned by time or even our current situation, our current life. And we're certainly not imprisoned by the number of hours in a day, let alone the number of days in our lives. Okay. We're all on borrowed time. And what I love about Jim Collins, he also says something on the lines of, we can only control a very small part of our life. However, we are free to choose. And I think that's wonderful. And again, I just want to reiterate, you've got to fail often. You've got to fail quickly, and you've got to learn from that. That's really important. And if you want to rise up, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to rise up, if you want to stand up, the only person you've got to stand up to is yourself. No one else. You don't need to prove anything to anyone else. One thing that I have learned in life is it doesn't matter how old you are. There is always something that you can learn, and there's always something that you can do. And I know everyone throws around the Colonel Sanders story, where he founded KFC at 65. And a lot of that and a lot of failure comes down to this. You've got to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's where those small failure experiences really thrive. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's 12 minutes. I'm gonna wrap it up. I hope that you've enjoyed today's show. Unfortunately, as I said, Simone is away in Canberra. Normally we talk about something that we're doing. I'm just going to play a lovely outro video that Adrian shot and filmed, which I think is really cool. And thank you for your kind words, Adrian. But until then, live with purpose.
Working with Christian is a game changer. Hi, I'm Adrian Lee from GrowthLink Coaching and Consulting. I started working with Christian in August 2020 as his LinkedIn growth consultant. We worked together on his LinkedIn brand for about 12 months before becoming business partners in Growth Outsourced late 2021. Christian is a hidden genius. He helped me break through a significant financial target by restructuring my growth consulting online business offer. I don't know of any one person who can give you so much focus, clarity, and structure to live your purpose and get shit done. He holds you accountable to your words and gives you the tough love when you need it. I love his no BS approach to business and life. Everyone needs a Christian Lavolsi in their life. Do whatever you have to work with Christian. This is just the beginning for us, and I am super pumped to continue growing together. Thanks again, Christian.